In the previous video, we learned how to create a vector quantizer. In this video, we're going to take a look at how to build a recurrent neural network for our sequential data analysis, which will enable us to extend generic models. Recurrent neural networks are really good at analyzing sequential and time series data. You can learn more about them at this website. When we deal with sequential and time series data, we cannot just extend generic models. The temporal dependencies in the data are really important, and we need to account for this in our models. Let's look at how to build them. So we move on to our editor. Create a new Python file named recurrent-network.py and import these packages. Now define a function to create a waveform based on input parameters. We then create different amplitudes for each interval to create a random waveform. Let's combine the arrays to create the output arrays. This data corresponds to the input and the amplitude corresponds to the labels. And this line of code returns the data and the amplitude. Next, we define a function to draw the output after passing the data through the trained neural network. Let's now define the main function and start by creating sample data. Next, we create a recurrent neural network with two layers. Set the initialized functions for each layer. Then we train the recurrent neural network. Let's compute the output from the network for the training data. Now let's plot training error. Also plot the results. We now move on to create a waveform of random length and see whether the network can predict it. Next, we create another waveform of a shorter length and see whether the network can predict it. We're now ready to run this file, so let's do it and see the output. As you run the recurrent-network.py, you can see two figures on your screen. The first figure displays training errors and the performance on the training data. And the second figure displays how a trained recurrent neural net performs on sequences of arbitrary lengths. Also, you can see the epoch values for 100 to 1000 on your terminal. In this video, we've built a recurrent neural network for the sequential data provided by us. In the next video, we'll see how to visualize the characters in an optical character recognition.